for staying with us. Just back on the stream now. And hopefully the echo is gone now. Jan, if you speak, are you delayed?
Hello, am I delayed?
No, you're not for me anymore. No, that's much better. It seems like it's figured itself out somehow, which is quite nice. So if people in chat could just tell us, make sure the sound's okay. But looks like Mark's just, as Jan was just saying, Mark's just trying to work out whether he can do anything else other than take a repetition here. And I guess he's gone back to H4 and not to G3. Does that mean anything, or?
Good question. Does it mean anything? I don't know. I think
so. No, I don't know what he's thinking about. He's only got one move.
Yeah, especially when you don't have much time left. He's probably not thinking, is he? I'd imagine.
Yeah, I hope he's not nipped to the loo or something.
Yeah, maybe he's just ran off very quickly to the loo, and he's just. Oh, it's a draw.
Oh, there we go then. Okay. So they've agreed to draw, yeah, because he can't retreat the queen because otherwise, I guess, queen check and then pawn forward and stuff happens. And
you could have a little go to win, maybe. I thought if he could just play queen e1 check and then queen takes e6. But, you know, I'm not sure how he's going to be generating any sort of winning chances without sort of risking stuff himself, you know.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, there's just so many checks. I think you're not going to find a safe place for your king, are you? So
yeah, the black king is far too open here, and actually, white might even round up this pawn as well, mightn't he? So Ankush would be able to even push for a win, perhaps. But okay, well, that was a draw. So that's.
I'd love to know what the computer thought of that game. Actually, I think very interesting.
Well, just before we go back to Richard Pert, Matthew Wadsworth, Mickey has won this game against the Ghazi. And a D pawn on T7 is going to be pretty strong, as well as an exchange up.
Very convincing, that game, wasn't it?
Yeah, very convincing. I mean, you look at this. He did play your move bishop
e2. Nice.
Okay. And then this was actually how the exchange was when he sacked it on C5.
It's kind of like a reluctant sack there, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just not got enough for it, has he? And
that was just a horrible game for black right from the start. I just don't like that A6. I know it must have been prepared, but it caused a lot of problems, that A6, didn't it? So.
It did. And we've got a result here in Nina Pert versus Zoe Varney as well. So we had this.
Wow.
What on earth happened here? I'm going back.
Yeah.
So G4 takes. We saw it here, and I thought Rook E1 was a nice little trick, by the way, but it doesn't have to be taken. So Knight E4 takes.
Right.
Rook
okay.
E7. Oh, okay, and then.
Wow.
Queen was won, but wow, Zoe Varney able to wrap up here very quickly and game over already like this.
I wonder how accurate this game was as well. It seemed to swing back and forth a little. So
yeah, I mean, we thought that she played a good opening, though, didn't we? So we saw it back here, and like with this Knight H5, Knight F4, Queen F6, and that puts Zoe in sole lead, by the way, nice. I believe. So Zoe Varney, I'm pretty sure, because Kata was half a point behind. Audrey Q could have caught up with Zoe if she won, but she lost. So I think Zoe's half a point ahead of Kata going into the where's the results here?
And they haven't played each other, I assume. So
I don't think so.
So that'll be
unless they played earlier on and Zoe won there in round 2, perhaps. Was it round 2 that they might have played? Let's just have a look. No, no, Kata lost to Abigail. So no, they haven't played. So yeah, anything can happen there. So Kata versus Zoe is going to look like a pretty important matchup. Rikiro won there. We've still got Sarah trying to. Camilla did win this game here against the Sumi.
Well, that rook got out. How?
The rook's got out.
What? Look at it now.
Here and it's now over here.
Well, which one is it? Which rook is it? It could have been the one on B3.
And then it got out. The rook got out.
It's the one on B. Oh no, it's not the one on B3. So.
No, it's the one on B6. It's just gone to A8 now, actually, as the time starts to tick down.
Wow, it's having quite the game, isn't it?
Yeah, and actually, I don't think Black's doing too badly now. Feels like the whole thing has changed.
Pawn down though, no? No. Oh, Black's doing very well then, yeah. I don't know how on earth that happens.
No. I also quite like the fact that King's on D7 now.
Yeah.
Quite nice.
This D pawn is a bit of a liability potentially.
I mean, maybe knight B5 blunders a piece to rook takes B5. It's one way to lose the game. So if you have to defend with rook D2, you're not going to be happy.
Yeah. It's.
I mean, could you just play bishop f6 here?
Well, rook D2.
Oh, is knight B5 the point? Oh, mind you, you can just take on f3.
Yeah.
So rook D2 is forced, and then you at least make white's rook bad, and your king's not even tied down to defending this anymore. Maybe it's coming next move, though.
Yeah, it's coming at some point, isn't it?
Mm.
I think you tie white down, and then maybe even just advance on the king side a little, and
yeah. I mean, there's a lot going on there. So that's game left. We've seen Elise Dyson beat Olga Latapova as well. That piece, blunder of a piece, those pawns weren't good enough in the end. Anusha has beaten May Katabi. Anam Sheikh against Bodhana. Bodhana's trying to push here for a win.
Wow, that was looking unpleasant for her when we looked.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we saw it back around, well, further back than this, didn't we? We saw it at this point, and White's pawns did start to come forward. I think we had a small shot of it here. Bishop takes b2, and we'll actually have a look at what Lawrence has said there about rook takes c8 instead of rook g1 for Richard. May have turned the tables. We'll have a look at that in a second against Matthew Wadsworth. Yeah, this is looking good for Anam Sheikh here, wasn't it? And
not so good now, I think.
No,
I think allowing queen and knight versus queen and bishop. I think you've just swapped off all the wrong pieces. I think.
Yeah, and in fact, maybe.
I think it was misplayed positionally, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, and we reach this endgame now where the knight is better than the bishop, and yeah, she's struggling to hold this, and might be able to, but I doubt it very much actually.
No, that
looks lost. Oh, hang on, can she do king takes knight here?
No, because there's going to be a pass pawn.
Okay, yeah, so you're going to go h2 and then c4.
Yeah,
at the same time. Okay, so that's looking a little bit dodgy. Aga and Allard took a draw, and Sumya beat Sarah. So we've got the 2 games here still left. And then the Open Championship. See Mickey won on top board, which is putting him way ahead. But here we have Richard against Matthew Wadsworth. Is this the game that has been suggested? Rook takes c8 instead of rook g1 may have turned the tables here. Rook c8. He went rook g1, but the suggestion is rook takes c8 here.
I mean, is it just a free piece? What am I missing here? If you just take up the knight?
Let's do a back rank checkmate. Oh, there's not, because you've got queen g1.
Queen g1, yeah.
So hang on. Do you have to take back this way? They're both down to really bad time pressure, so yeah, rook g1 is a bit of a blunder there, but we think it is. Let's just.
What was Black's move there? He just
played rook c8.
Go a couple of moves back, because that knight seems to have been on pre for a little.
So rook e4.
Yeah, we saw it here. Okay, so yeah. Right. That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Am I missing something here? But I think it's.
You expect him to see it, but it's easy to get scared for your back rank there as well. Let's just put the evaluation on. Yeah, White's winning.
What happens if you just take? Am I missing another thing as well? Can't you just take without taking on c8. What
no, you take on c1 and then go rook e1.
Oh, sorry, rook. Yes, yeah, obviously, yeah.
But you went rook g1 though, and knight getting back to f5, nice and solid. Queen f2, rook d4, bishop's what? c3. Okay, yeah, I'm missing this rook on h3. These bad rooks at the moment guarding pieces and stuff. It's your fault, that is, Johan.
Yeah.
And actually, Richard's generating some stuff here now.
Yeah.
Time trouble, rook c6 takes, and I think Matthew would be.
He's going to flag him like his son. He's going to flag him.
Well, I don't know if he's going to flag him, but yeah, he's trying to. The players speed it up.
He's obviously a fighter, isn't he, Richard? He's happy to sit there with this terrible position and just wait for his chance.
Yeah, and you definitely prefer to. Well, Richard's chances have gone massively higher here, hasn't he? Even though his king's still in a real big mess. If this knight actually gets here, it's a checkmate. Sorry, just going back to what's that? Rook takes c8. What? King takes c8. What? Bishop takes what? Rook takes f4 here. But queen takes f4. And you can block on c1.
Or g1.
Or g1, yeah. So where was rook takes f4 coming in? Here? Takes f4. But you can still take the rook because you can still block on c1. Oh, no, you can't. It's checkmate on g2. So rook takes f4. So what does white play here?
Wait a minute. Well, is he a rook? What's he up? He's a rook up, yeah? So can't he just take on e3 and then play... Oh, no, sorry, the rook's on pre still.
Yeah. We might be missing a rapid finish here, though, so we'll come back to this in a second because we're currently in this position here. He's just taken on a6. Matthew he's lost control of the position here on the queen side.
I think this is... I think he's... There's always going to be a perpetual on the table for white, really, isn't there now? So... I think
it feels like it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like knight g3 check could still save the day.
I mean, in that last position just then, instead of rook e3, I thought knight g3 check maybe. And then if pawn takes rook takes c3, it's sort of messing things up a little, isn't it? So,
but this is a really important game for the standings because, if I'm not mistaken, I'm just going to load it up on my. Oh, actually, I'll load it up here, so I've got it completely open. And we'll go back to that position as well because it seems like a very important one. One that I'm sure that Matthew and Richard won't want to look back on stream on as well. But yeah, so Matthew is... So with Mickey winning, he's on 5.5. And the only person that can get to 5 would be Matthew if he wins. So Matthew, if Matthew doesn't win, if this is a draw or a loss for Matthew, then Mickey's going to be a whole point ahead, and that's going to decide the championship. So if he's just gone queen b5, king c8, if he's got like queen a6 and then perpetual, then Mickey can only be caught. So this is huge, absolutely huge at the moment.
I think the best. I think White's probably pushing for the win now, isn't it? Because I think
it's whether he wants to. I mean, he's been battered all game, and finally he's got a choice. And this is what the good players do.
That's the kind of thing where you do definitely feel like going for the win, isn't it? Because I think if you have been battered all game and your opponents let you off the hook, you kind of want to.
He's taken a couple of checks here, just maybe to gain time, perhaps.
Yeah, I
don't know, but. King's gone back to c8. Queen e8 would see a threefold repetition. Claim, perhaps? Or we need one more check, actually. We need... Yeah, I think we need to wait for queen e8, king b7, and then queen b5 would be threefold. Perhaps. But this is huge. And, Richard survived this game already, but can he turn it into a win? This is his chance now. But the thing is, though, Johan, I'm still very scared for White's position and White's king.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you possibly play on here with your king on h1? And
you've got to see something, haven't you? You've got to see something to convince you, I guess. What is it?
I mean, your bishop's also on pre. Bishop a5.
Okay.
Has Black got anything threatened here? I mean, I don't even know.
Can we just regroup a little and just play rook takes rook, knight takes rook, bishop d4, knight comes to f5, bishop f2, something like that.
Yeah, I like that because the bishop on f2 really controls that knight, doesn't it?
But, yeah, because if it comes in to g3, you can take it with the bishop at least then. Okay, I think
it's taking the draw.
Yeah.
Well, they can claim it. They don't actually have to take it, do they? They don't actually have to take it. So wherever it's the case that they're going to agree on this, I think it's going to be a draw though. I don't think they're going to play on.
Come on, should we cheat? Should we have a little look what their
the evaluation is?
Yeah,
it does say it's equal.
Oh wow! Oh, I mean, does it know that they've repeated or?
So it says here that after king b7, white is winning plus 4.9. Rook takes knight. Rook, knight takes rook.
I guess there's no threats, is there? That's what I thought.
Queen back here.
Yeah.
King c8, and then bishop d4 was one move. You're right.
Yeah, I just think you're sort of essentially like you're a pawn up and nothing's happening on the
bishop f2. Is what you thought. I mean, I thought maybe knight f5 here, bishop here.
I didn't necessarily think that, but I mean, as in that was one option if you were just being ultra cautious. But I thought bishop b6 ideally.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's so difficult.
A5,
yeah. I mean, I thought bishop a5, but I mean, I don't think this works. h3 apparently is really good. But this is computer assistance, isn't it? Imagine with 30 seconds and a minute on your clock and trying to do something, and whether they've just agreed a draw here and the clock's ticking down because of that reason, I would assume so. But yeah, I think Richard's missed a chance right at the end there to possibly play for a win. But I mean, he was losing this game. Let's be honest, he was dead and buried in this game. Let's go back to, where should we go back to? Somewhere around here. I thought that Black was just going to win this easy.
Yeah.
Especially with this rook on h3, and maybe his queen on g6 here is maybe on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Possibly the only thing.
I think because nothing is happening, I would have been tempted to try and get my king a bit safer first, find some before actually doing something. I would have been tempted to put my king somewhere safe, or safer. I don't know where that would be, but
yeah, because Black's pieces are just a little bit too far over on the king side, aren't they?
I would just be worried that when things kick off, that what happened. I'd be thinking of popping my king on.
So the point was rook takes rook, rook takes f4, and then there was this idea of queen e2, and then rook f1 check, queen takes f1, knight takes f1, rook hc3. Oh,
nice.
Very nice. Very nice checkmate indeed. And that would have been crushing. Both players are going to leave this game, and they've agreed a draw because Matthew's time's gone out, and so they just haven't stopped the clocks. So this is a draw, which means that Mickey's going to be a whole point ahead of Matthew Wadsworth in this tournament. But let's just have a look to see what other games are still going on. That game is gone. Thank you, ZX_9R_ for the follow. We've had, obviously, Mark Hebden and Ankush was a draw. Peter Finn beat John Emps. When did we miss this? What happened here?
Oh, wow.
How did this happen? I thought John Emps was doing quite all right in this game. We saw this idea of... so hang on. What happened? So
he played rook c8. I didn't fancy that one.
Queen f4, g5. That's brave. Then he took on d5. Maybe this was harder than we thought. I thought Black was doing fine here.
I mean, you can't be worse, surely.
Well, he lost b7.
Yeah, okay.
So he's a pawn down. Oh, was it this intermezzo that hurt?
Yeah,
because now he can't take on e2, and he has a pawn down. So that's how we lost the pawn.
God, that was a bit of a mess, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's just really unfortunate. And the problem is that White can just play on and play on and play on. And even though you might have great drawing chances,
I think this is drawn, isn't it? this endgame. This endgame was a draw at the start, surely.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably would have been, but here he just goes king forward and king takes f5 and game over. Well, nice win for Peter Finn there, but John Ems will be ruining some missed chances there, I'm sure, and misplayed it. We saw Jonah beating Shabir. Peter Wells has beaten David Hayden. Danny Gormley beat Kenny Hobson. Timothy Seymour lost to James Jackson. It's like a lot of bishops there at the end. And okay, we still actually have a game going in this one. We'll just flick over to the women's championships though, because we still have Sarah Longson here against Abigail Wearsing, and this actually matters for the championship. Sarah Longson needs to keep in touch, and she needs to win to stay half a point behind Zoe Varney, I believe. So it could be Zoe Varney against Kata or Sarah Longson, depending on points. Let me just double check that is right, what I'm telling you. And this rook on a6, is that the one that came from g6?
I think it's the one on b8, isn't it?
It's the one on b8. Okay, sorry. Sarah needs to win to stay a point behind the champions. Zoe Varney leading. So Zoe would be on 5 points. Sarah's currently on 3. So she needs to win just to keep any remote chances. But I'm sure Kata will play against Zoe next. So there's going to be at least half a point there being had. So there's not really much that we can do.
I think this requires a fairly decent mistake for White to win this, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, though, everything's needed, though. So she's gonna have to try everything. Time pressure. Chess isn't the game about who plays the best chess moves. It's about who plays the best chess moves per time used, which is a way that you have to think about chess. And whenever you keep getting into time trouble and you go, "Oh, I just lost because of time," well, that's your own fault. You didn't play the good moves per time used.
Yeah. I think this knight needs a new job.
Defending d4, maybe?
I think knight e2. Let's get it into e5.
Oh, you're going back to g1, are you?
Yeah. Oh, now that's happened. I'm going to be maybe just leave it there just in the hope that she takes the knight.
I don't know, though. I mean, if she takes the knight, it's still a better rook endgame for black.
I don't see that being as much of an issue then. I think that a pawn will tie the rooks down sufficiently for a draw. But I suppose White doesn't want the draw. So, but I mean, when you're doing so badly, I guess you do. So,
I mean, I fully expect knight e2 to be played here.
Yeah. Or I was thinking maybe just go h4. And then get that put the rook behind it and get that h pawn going.
And just push, yeah. It creates pressure, though, doesn't it, when you start to attack your opponent? And you've got to do things like that. And you can't calculate it to the end, to perfection. You haven't got time. Just got to go on instincts, how to make my opponent defend. And the problem is that this a pawn is so easily stopped at the moment.
But I think if you get that h pawn going as well.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you can have a rook on a8, this rook on h8, and go, well, okay, how are you actually moving any pawns?
Well, I mean, I think black is the one that's supposed to be trying to.
True.
So I think if you go h4, ask the question, you're freeing up some squares for your knights then as well. So if you can get that knight to f4, g6, e5, I guess he's doing something active.
This is the way to play, isn't it? You've got to do this, but I'm guessing g4 might even get played by black.
Well, that's why I think I want to go h4 first.
Okay.
Because otherwise, if you go knight g1, g4, knight e2, you've got that f4 square, but your h pawn's backward then, and it's not going anywhere.
So maybe g4 now and just allow this.
Yeah, maybe. Probably rook h8.
Bishop a5, bit of a defensive move.
Don't understand this at all.
Well, I guess there's some sort of pressure here, maybe, but again, it could have come to d6 for that.
Yeah.
Maybe she's just freeing up her rooks and wants to play rook b2, or maybe this rook to b3. But H4.
I go H4 now. Go H4, and at least you're doing something, and you're just not just if a number of moves ago you were just sitting there waiting, but now at least something's happening.
Yeah, no, I think this is definitely looking much more positive. I hope she plays H4 because it's the exciting move to play. Obviously, there's a big danger around your king though. So like, let's say H4 captures, and then we've got something like Rook G8, Rook G2 coming in. But I guess you could maybe even play Rook G1 and swap rooks there.
Yeah.
Because actually, if you swap rooks, then all of a sudden the A pawn does tie up pieces.
And also, you're not so worried about B2 if there's a rook, if one of the rooks is off.
Yeah, because this
frees up that A2 rook potentially to join in. At least you've got winning chances then. It's sort of like where if you don't want to just sit around to draw and then no chance to win the tournament, I guess. So
yeah, I mean, at least I think Sarah needs it. I don't think she can win because I think she'll have two people on board one playing a point ahead of her and a half a point ahead of her, so they have to have a result.
Yeah,
but probably playing for second place at best with 2 wins. But she'll want to win anyway. She's a fighter.
It's not pleasant just playing for 2 results anyway, is it? You'd rather like have the chance of a win.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what there is to think about here, because what else are you going to play apart from H4? Maybe Knight G1, but you don't really want to play Knight G1, allow G4, and then Black plays G4, Rook H8, and comes over. So yeah, I was expecting H4 a bit quicker here, actually.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and actually the standings at the top of the women's championship. So Zoe Varney's outright first on 5 points. Strong favourite at the moment. She's half a point ahead of Katarzyna Toma and Rukuria Rida. Again, apologies for the pronunciation. Who are half a point behind on 4.5 points. Kamila Harashenko is on 4 points, and if Sarah wins, she'll also be on 4 points. And then you've got the chasing pack. In the Open tournament, Mickey Adams is going to be a clear first place. He's going to be on 5.5 out of 6, and he's going to be a whole point ahead of Matthew Wadsworth and Marcus Harvey, who won, and Peter Finn, who won, and Jonah Willow and Peter Wells, who will all be on 4.5 points. So Mickey just needs a draw tomorrow morning to be champion, and who could blame anybody for giving him a draw? Although I'm sure it's going to be Matthew Wadsworth against. Oh no, mind you, they've got quite a lot of people on 4.5 points, so it might not be Matthew. He's the right colours. Michael Adams already played against Marcus Harvey, so we don't know what the draws are going to be there. But to be honest, the women's championship I think is probably going to be the closest one. This is where the action's happening. It's always the women. Don't know why this is the case. Seems to be a lot more fun.
What was Rook F1 though?
I've got no idea. I was just biding time, hoping to come up with an answer to
you. Enlighten me. Is the point G4? Because I can't think. What's going on?
I don't know. Is Black playing C3? Probably not. I think Black wants to maybe recycle this rook.
Yeah.
But what you're thinking, G4, F4, H4?
I just don't like Rook F1. I don't know why.
G4 takes Rook G1? Or Rook F7 check? Doesn't seem to do much.
I mean, if that's the point, then just play G4 first.
Oh, the Rook's coming to F3, apparently.
What? Is like C3 more of a threat than I don't know. It's like everything seems to be pointing at C3, and I can't see why.
No, I think she was just maybe trying to stop Rook B3. I think we've also got to remember as well that, White from this position was actually under the cosh a little bit there, I think. And so you get into this defensive mindset, and then you start to see threats. And rather than looking at things that you could do, which could be attacking, you miss them completely.
I think this is like kind of my
A5
defensive.
here. Is A5 any good, or rook A8 just pins it, but then rook F A3? What's wrong with A5?
I mean,
let's get that pawn going.
I'd rather get the H pawn going, I think.
Yeah, let's get the A pawn going first. We'll push H pawn next.
Yeah, actually,
it's going backwards. I mean, it's already defended, so why allow white this opportunity? You can't pin because we'll just bring the other rook over. But I guess it's easy to say when we're looking on, and harder to play when you're at the board after. I mean, they started at 4 o'clock. We're currently approaching 5 to 8 now, so they've been playing for 3 hours 55 minutes, and this is the 6th game in 3 days that they played, so they must be tired. The rook's 3. She's freed up a rook from A2 because B2 is no longer threatened.
Black has just spent a lot of time making the position worse, actually, I think. I mean, that bishop took ages to get to B6, and it doesn't really do anything there. So, apart from block the B file.
Yeah.
It seems to me. Like
maybe its home is on A7. Maybe that's the idea.
It's kind of gone everywhere, and then it's just blocking this important file. So I think
it's amazing though how both players are probably thinking.
It has gone back to A7.
Hey, I know how they're thinking. Yeah, it's amazing though how both players are probably thinking, I don't want to lose.
I fancy white now. I'd rather be white. I think white might be better with get 2 outside pass pawns potentially now. So
H4's got to be played surely.
Yeah, definitely starting to fancy white.
Maybe she wanted to play G4. I don't know. Oh,
ooh.
Aggressive. Yeah. I've seen Sarah play before, and she does like to go for the king. But this is... I don't know if she's got enough pieces to actually do a proper checkmate. But I guess if she swaps off a pair of rooks, she should be quite happy.
Well, let's take this. No, this is not good, is it? I think take the G pawn now.
And then, but rook F7 check.
Well, that's just one check. It's not doing anything, is it?
Well, where's your king going to go?
D6.
You're going to D6. I take your bishop on A7.
Oh, right. I didn't. Sorry. That bishop has just gone around, and then his
bishop is
to lose itself.
Bishop it's gone there to be lost.
Right. Yeah.
That's why it's gone there.
In my head, it was still on B6 then. So yeah, okay, right. Yeah. Now G4 makes a lot more sense.
And now H4 comes in, and these black pawns are dropping off.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think Sarah's turning the screw here, and Abigail's time is showing that as well. Don't think she got much choice here other than possibly just to take and then stick a rook behind it and see what she can generate. But I mean, still after takes, rook takes F4, there's still this rook F7 idea. Okay, that's just going to temporarily put the rook back on A2, isn't it? I think. and now it's funny almost that this bishop's not even attacking D4.
Yeah, I mean, what a maneuver! Like, where didn't it come from? Like G7,
F8, on
B4, A5, B6, A7.
Yeah,
and just to become a tactical liability. But
rook B3. So here, knight rook C3. Oh, this is interesting. Actually, we missed this. Nicely done, Abigail. Hang on, is this pawn not even lost anymore? You go rook C3, you just do rook takes rook and then F3. How did this happen? I thought white was just breaking through there, but apparently not.
Yeah, I think H4 was the way to go, I think.
Yeah, I mean, rook A1 did feel like a waste, didn't it? Just H4, but she's got a few problems now. She's got a couple of minutes to think about it. I honestly don't know what to suggest,
I think maybe knight C3.
What, giving up the D4 pawn? But then when you take on G5, we play E5.
Yeah, and then I think well, I can take on D5 with my knight potentially.
You can't rotate rook F3.
Oh, yeah.
It's pinned, yeah.
Okay, but let's just get.
Thank you, Bustin Silhouette, for the follow. Great to have you.
Maybe rook H3 gets something going.
Yeah, it's complicated there, isn't it? Because black's central pawns are actually quite strong. She's played knight c3. I'm surprised. I thought maybe possibly even retreating the rook back to f2 might have been an option there, but I guess f3 is coming anyway, and the knight has to move. So this is looking very exciting at the moment. Bishop takes d4.
It's kicked off a bit, doesn't it? I think it's going to be a race between the outside pawns and the central pawns, maybe. So
yeah, I think white's king's in a bit of danger, and this rook on a2 is. I mean, if this pawn can get further forward, then the rook on a2 is good. But I think those central pawns are going to cause havoc for the white king and the white knight as well. Actually,
they're a little clumsy, though. So they're a little clumsy. I think, it's hard for them to come forward without losing.
E5 now is she's taken on c3 straight away. Why not e5 immediately?
You probably should buy some time first with e5, maybe. Yeah. I think at least keep the tension. Yeah, for a little bit.
Yeah. Bishop takes knight felt too soon because it was pinned to the rook on f3. Unless there was some weird tactic, but
I think. Yeah, we keep the rook on.
I don't know. Rook h8 now.
Yeah, rook h8. You're right.
I mean, e5 is still good, but rook h8 is looking.
No, I think rook h8 was. It's not your standard rook and pawn end.
No, not at all. Looks like white could get checkmated here, perhaps. Probably not, but maybe the king. If you get check here and check here, then the king's just got to go to c1, c2.
Do you know what? Instead of e5, I mean d4 is looking even here, even next move. But if you go d4 and then d3, go back one. If you go d4, and then try. Let's just go for mate instead of winning. Or could you just take on c3, take the rook, take the pawn on c3?
Yeah, true.
Maybe because at least they sort of come through together then, don't they?
And then e5 comes, and then good.
Or rook h8 instead.
Rook h8 is rook h8, rook takes pawn here, check.
Oh,
yeah. So e5 first is necessary, but I mean, I think
you could play check instead, rook d3 check.
But I mean, look at this move, rook h3. So black's missed the opportunity to go rook h8. Whether that was winning or not, I don't know actually, because I was thinking here if rook h8, then maybe even rook f2 is possible. And there isn't actually any checkmates.
I think just d4 was better, wasn't it?
Yeah, d4 is better. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're currently at rook g8 at the moment. This time scramble between these two top English chess playing women, Sarah and Abigail, treating us to a bit of a show here, a topsy-turvy show. Thank you very much for the followers, everybody, by the way. So who's just followed us? Quite a few people have as well. Enrage Lagarde just then. Uzi Lancient just before as well. Bustin Silhouette as well. Welcome all to the channel. Some interesting questions in chats. Yeah, a lot of players are improving. It's somebody's going to make it to GM at some point, but we'll have to see. But back to this game, black's just going for the G pawns.
I think this is one where you need to go for mate instead, isn't it? Yeah, okay, that's good.
Yeah, D4 is got to be something that's on black's mind here. D4 for Abigail. I mean, white's just trying to distract a black rook with this A pawn. This is looking pretty scary. If this pawn reaches D3, then boom, boom, E4, E3. The white king would be in such a mating net on the back rank. In fact, that's really strong, isn't it? If you think about it, D4, A6, check, King D2, E4, A7, E3. You've got to do Rook takes E3. Oh no, King C1, but D2. wins. So therefore, you've got to do rook takes e3 here. But then you go a8 and win the rook back. What is going on? She's played rook b8 anyway. Rook b8.
You've got to be a little bit more active, haven't you, in rook endgames? So
yeah,
I think activity is the key, and
a6 has been played. I'm just going to refresh.
You can't just get passively tied down to these pawns now, and
it's a bit more colourful now. Yeah, it's so hard though when you're in time trouble to be aggressive, and you'll see the better players will try and be as aggressive as possible. I
think it's just my opposite instinct. I'm probably too aggressive. I think I'd rather sort of go down, fight it, active than sitting around waiting to lose.
Rook b2 here. Rook b2, rook b8.
I think it doesn't really fit the pattern of what's been happening. I mean, I'd imagine she'd rather play the check first, even. So
yeah, possibly the check first. Yeah, rook h7 check first, and then rook b2, rook b8. I mean, who knows who's going to win this? Oh, there's just some sort of mating net as well. Rook h7 and then rook b6.
Can you get away with taking this? The G
pawn. I don't think so. Rook h7 check looks pretty strong.
Yeah, king c8,
and then rook c6 check, and king d8, and then maybe rook h8 check, king forward, rook h rook, king takes rook c6, and then your rook comes out and you queen your pawn. So she's had to go back to g7 to stop all of these super dangerous checks, but
just everything was so active a few moves ago, and now they're just waiting.
Yeah, well, 4 hours 7 minutes of play and 6th game in 3 days. This is a tiring place for them.
Let's get this e pawn going then. Is it?
Well, yeah, she has to, doesn't she?
Let's go e4.
Or maybe she moves the king out. Oh no, king c7, king b7 maybe. Another option. Just win the a7 pawn. It is a king c7, rook h6, and then you've got a check at least.
Can you go rook c8? Can you go rook c8? King c8 instead.
Well, I guess you can do, but then maybe we go rook h8 check, take your rook on a8, and then if you take on a8, we play g6, and your rook and king are stuck.
Yeah, but how are you making progress?
Well, yeah, and they're probably not going to stop your pawns either, so probably going to be a draw. But yeah, I mean, this is crazy. This is going up and down. The black rooks were in a much more active position, weren't they? And those pawns should have moved. But see, it's easy to make mistakes during time trouble. Fascinating game.
It's permanent time trouble now, isn't it? So.
Yeah, they're just playing on increment, and it's instinct now. What's guiding them? Experience. Abigail is younger, so Sarah's digging deep here just to try and cause her opponent as many problems as possible. And she's taken on g5, probably as a last-ditch attempt, to be honest. But rook h7 check here is looking mighty strong. Because the problem is after rook h7 check, king c8, you've got rook c6 check.
There's no sort of perpetual or something, is there?
No, the king will come across to... Well, the king can escape via b2 and a3. I think white's won this.
Sorry, yeah.
King c8, rook c6 check here, king d8, rook h8 check. King comes forward, take the rook, and then you queen your pawn. I think Sarah's won. I think that's it. Rook c6 here wins. There might even be more ways to win it than that, but
wow, there's some
she's
serious
seen it. This is it.
Some serious swings in this game, weren't there?
Yeah, wow. And it was just that little bit of experience towards the end where she's just about got active enough and put pressure on her opponent, and Abigail's rooks came all the way back. Unlucky Abigail, you fought so hard as well.
This will be a sick one, won't it?
It will, but I mean, she got a. I think about how this game went. She had a horrible pawn structure, but she got her pieces active. And then and then she had all this bad rook on g6, which was trapped in by a knight, and then managed to get herself into, I want to say, a winning position. So she played ever so well to get there. But why has Sarah gone rook d6 here? Check. I thought rook h8 check would have won then.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So maybe king c6.
Is she going to take the d pawn?
Please no. Just rook h8 would have won. So just go back to c6 just to build some time, and then, or is she looking for checkmate instead? Oh no. I mean, rook h8 check works here as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So there's no perpetual. So we're just waiting for rook h8 check to be. Oh, hang on. No, it doesn't work. Rook h8 check, king b7. Oh, then rook d7.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's one all the same. But rook d6 that does scare me a little bit.
Yeah, the fact that it's not being played sort of instantly as well is a kind of...
Yeah, especially with the time ticking down. It's a bit worrying, isn't it?
What's the first line that you should calculate is, checks first, isn't it? So
yeah,
I think
she's played it, and this should pretty quickly resolve itself. And yeah, well, I mean that's going to really put Sarah at least in a mix of chance of getting second, maybe third, depending on how she goes on tomorrow. But yeah, amazing game by Zoe Varney against Nina Pert. Fascinating. Zoe's in the lead, 5 points out of 6. Second equal is Katarzyna Toma and also Rikira Rida on 4.5. So I'm assuming it'll be one of those two against Zoe. So we look forward to that tomorrow morning. It's going to be at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning is when the stream starts again, and the games will follow that live. Anything can happen in the women's tournament. 3 players could potentially win it. So we'll see what happens there. In the Open tournament, it's looking like a foregone conclusion, but it's still possible that Mickey Adams could lose a game of chess. However doubtful that might be. He's a full point clear of the pack on 5.5 out of 6. And the chasing pack is, it's quite large, a point behind him. So Mickey just needs a half a point draw to be champion. And then everybody else is playing for points prizes, of which there are quite a lot of prizes, by the way. So we'll see how that goes on tomorrow. But I think this game is just about over. I should imagine after king c6 here, there's rook takes rook, and then king takes rook, and then the rook moves away, and we should see a resignation. Because white's king, this black rook can't check here too much. The king will just come up this way, won't it? Out, and so that's it. So yeah, okay. So well, I'll tell you what, Jan, we'll finish the stream there for today. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks for the invite.
Obviously, we've had a couple of sound problems, but I'm sure it's all fixed now after a bit of a refresh. Yeah, thanks very much, everybody, for watching. If you could join us at 10 a.m. tomorrow UK time, currently at BST, which is GMT +1, if you're watching from abroad. And we'll see who is going to be the champion of the English Chess Championships and the English Women's Chess Championships as well. But yeah, apart from that, thanks very much. See you then.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.